On, are we? Yeah. Did you like that switch from character to character? We're about 1 inch away from boring each other to death or killing one another, whatever it is. I'd love to hear the differing perspectives on how the panellists suggest we should be tickling each other's fancy. Yes, a bored couple write in. They are relevant in Great Britain but have no business fluffing around in other nations like Australia. Yes, it's our beloved royals. And the last letter tonight, and we're almost there. I adore all the girls I've ever been out with, but my current girlfriend insists this is poor form. All these insecurities and more coming up with our panellists who are both couples. In about 20 seconds. Don't go away.
Big or small, would a miracle be nice? Our motley crew is back, churning out advice. You might even laugh a bit in the following half hour. Park your backside on the couch, cause baby it's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
Pour some sugar on there, baby.
It's time for Sweet and Sour.
How's about some chili?
It's time for Sweet and Sour.
Oh, I didn't know that. Good evening, everyone. Oh, we're about to. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sweet and Sour. Lovely to have your company. We've got our couples on. Very first time we've actually done this. Our first couple tonight. Hello, Steve Maccora.
G'day.
Hello, Marilyn Tsolakis.
Hello, Gary.
Nice to have you both here.
Thank you very much for asking us.
You kept your single name
I have.
for professional reasons?
For professional reasons, yes.
How does the boss feel about that?
Actually, we only just met tonight on the way in. So we're not really couples. We're just sort of celebrity couples for the night.
No,
actually,
tonight should be very interesting.
no,
then.
I've never had a problem with that. Marilyn has been known as Marilyn Tsolakis in her professional life for many, many years, and I saw no reason that she should change to have my name. She is her own self, and I am my own self.
A 21st century man.
That's it.
Is that why you married him?
Absolutely.
Oh, nice
And
to
you
hear.
establish your own identity with a name, and it's nice to keep it because your reputation, you know, people know who you are.
It's also very good at deflecting anything subterfuge.
Oh, you've had a lot of practice, that's why. Do any of your ex-students know you're coming onto this show?
No.
Okay.
And I'm not going to be telling them
Well,
either.
guess what? Afterwards, you will have a lot of them tapping you on the shoulder saying, oh, I saw you on that show. Because that's how it works. Speaking of ex-students, hello, Michelle.
Hello.
You're not an
Gary,
ex-student
how are
of
you?
mine, but I'm sure you've got a lot of ex-students running around as well, haven't
I'm
you?
sure I've got one here, Paris.
Have you really?
Yes, she wasn't my student. but
Paris
she
is
was
our
at-
floor manager tonight,
at
standing
Newman
over
College,
there.
so
She was
yes.
at Newman?
Yeah, yeah, for 1 year.
Now, I want to know, Michael, where you met this lady.
I used to be a Perth City councillor.
I remember it
and
very well.
she,
Lunches were terrific.
Lunches were great at the council, and of course Michelle, I met her up at Kings Park, and she came on very strong and got on to me under the pretext that she wanted to discuss parking permits with me, and that's how it all started.
She just wanted to go parking, that's all.
Right. Yes.
Very
that's
good.
your version.
Terrific to have you here. Have you had a look at the letters?
Yes,
Yes.
we've had a look at the letters, very interesting letters tonight.
Ready to do some work?
Yes, a lot
All
of
right.
work to do.
Here we go. First letter coming to us from Mavis of Adelaide in South Australia. Dear Mitch and panellists. He has his interests, I have mine. Sometimes we have the same interests. We both love escaping to the cinema every so often, but after 15 years of marriage, we're both a bit stuck as to what to do to keep each other interested in staying together. Frankly, we're about 1 inch away from boring each other to death. I'd love to hear the differing perspectives of the panellists on how we should be tickling each other's fancy. From the men, I'd like to hear what they'd love from their women to keep the spice in their relationship, and from the women, what they'd like from their men to be doing. This is a very widespread spread problem in marriage, especially nowadays, that there is so much everywhere else on offer. As I said, Mavis of Adelaide in South Australia. Maz, to you straight away, what do you want your man to do for you?
Well, Gary, first, before I say that, I was just wondering, and it's kind of a sad reflection on marriage and the institution.
That you get bored?
Yeah.
Well, it happens though. You get bored with everything, don't you?
Well, I know maybe because Steve and I, well, this is our seven and a half years of marriage, so I guess we're not at that point yet.
7.5 year itch?
No
He
itches
scratches
yet.
it all right, doesn't he?
But look, I think you've got to keep the element of surprise there. I also find...
How do you do that?
There are ways. Think about what your man loves.
Just think of the lingerie, the cooking, you know, the assignations that we have, you know, just
All
together.
right.
Now, I was
Hang
the
on,
aunt.
hang on. Turn the clock back. Oh, no, turn the clock forward. Another 8 years. Are there any surprises left?
I think if you have to look at your husband's interests and kind of surprise him every now and then by doing something really special for them.
Reveal some of the home secrets. What was the last surprise you did for him?
Last surprise, I think I cooked him dinner.
And that was a surprise, was it? Does he cook for you?
Well, he said he didn't want a wife, you see, and I said, but I want a wife. And so that was a great attraction.
What did you want if you didn't want a wife?
Oh, I'm not allowed to stay. This is a family program.
And my mother's watching.
No,
So's mine.
I think essentially you want someone to be your companion. You want someone that you can share things with. I didn't want a wife. I can cook, I can iron, I can even sew my own needles.
Hang on, but that's not necessarily what a wife does anymore.
No,
that's what
true.
That's what a mother does.
Ah!
Before you've moved out of home.
No, but see, that's not what I wanted. But we have, you know, I enjoy doing things around the place. You sort of tend to help one another. I think that's important. Not taking one another for granted. Making sure that you actually do things that you do enjoy together. We also make sure we're always coordinated. You see, we're both wearing blue tonight.
What was the last surprise that you did for Marilyn?
Oh gosh, I've forgotten. There've been so many.
It's just Alzheimer's.
But very important. It's the humour. It's the humour. We laugh a lot together, and I find humour very sexy, and I think that's.
Hey, let's have a look at this. Yes, I could imagine that.
To be able to laugh with each other is very important in marriage.
All right, Mike, what's your take on all of this? What do you do for your missus?
Well, I try and do a lot of things. We try and do a lot of things together and play a bit of sport together. We're the very young bowlers. We go and play lawn bowls occasionally.
Do you really?
Yes.
Say hello to your bowling club.
Hello, Yokine Bowling Club and Mount
Yokine.
Morley Bowling Club. Nice to see you. We do things together, but we also do a lot of things apart. And I think as long as you know what your spouse is doing and they can come and tell you some interesting stories, you have a few laughs. We don't want to be living in each other's pockets all the time. I think that becomes very boring indeed.
So space is healthy?
I think space is very healthy, and I often have an MFN or an MFW, a Michelle-free week or a Michelle-free night.
I was going to ask, what does MF mean?
And Michelle has the same, and we tend to complement each other that way, and we keep things interesting.
All right, wrap it up for us, Mish.
Well, I think the same. I think it is difficult in these times when people are working and you've got so much on to find good times, you know, to be together. But Michael and I have got it down pat pretty much where we can spend some time on the sports field, or we're constant. So whether it's a Sunday morning or a Wednesday night, we're doing something together. We usually like watching the silly comedies on 7-2 on
How long have you
Tuesday
been married?
night. We've been married since November.
And you're already sitting back watching TV?
Yes, that's pretty sad. But after teaching all day, I can tell you that's a great job to do.
Terrific. All right, we'll invite you back in 15 years and we'll ask the letter writer to send it again. When we come back, we're going to be talking about whether the Royals still have any relevance in Australia. Don't go away. More of Sweet and Sour to cover. I don't think so. Yeah, nobody watched that. We're talking about the royal debate already. If you'd like to send a letter to Sweet and Sour, send it to the address that's appearing on your screen right now. And as Steve Maccora knows it, it is...
letters at sweetandsour.net.au.
Very good. And for every letter that is sent in, and we do discuss, we're going to send you to the movies courtesy of the very gorgeous Natalie Cameron, who is now Natalie O'Shea because she joined the Married Couple Brigade. And we're sending you to, there it went, Water for Elephants, wasn't it? There you go. And here we go, dear Sweet and Sour. Look, I love the Royals and I always have. I was in the crowd when the Queen first came to Australia in the 1950s and drove slowly past in the old Bentley, waving to us all as she passed. Since then, I've loved them all. In spite of all their many trials and tribulations, that just reflects how normal they are, I admire their resilience and the standards they mark. I think Princess Catherine, I don't even know if she's known as Princess Catherine.
She
is Princess Catherine. Is a lovely young woman, and Prince William is a well-mannered, handsome and strong young man who is very fit to one day be king and his bride the future queen. My 3 children are all in their 30s and don't have the same regard for the royal family as I do, and I can understand this, not growing up in the same era. But my sister, who is older than me, is as dismissive of the royals as my children. She says they are relevant in Great Britain but have no business fluffing around in other nations like Australia. But if we lose the royals, who will set proper standards of manners, propriety and how we deal with one another? Australia will be much poorer if we cut ourselves away from these royal yardsticks that they've given us, and they have given us the very fabric of our society. I feel we have much to lose by distancing ourselves from these valuable people and the royal institutions. Am I one of the few remaining loyal supporters? Belinda of Chadstone in Victoria. We're going straight to you, Mike.
Well, Gary, I wouldn't say that she's one of the few remaining loyal supporters. I mean, when we watched the wedding on Friday, there was, I think, 1 million people in the mall in England, and about 2 billion people watched it worldwide. So I wouldn't say she's one of the few remaining loyal supporters, but I think
In Australia?
Yeah, in Australia, I think it's a very much more finely balanced split. But, you know, the thing is that it's a bit of a fairy tale. Everybody wants to lose themselves in a little bit of something different and a fantasy world. I mean, to say that all the royal family are setting very high standards of manners, propriety, etc. I mean, I find that hard to believe. And I think that there are people that love the monarchy for whatever reason, warts and all, and the other people that are a little bit more discerning. But I think this week especially, it would be very dangerous to go out on a limb attacking the royal family, because you do have this fairy tale sort of world that we've...
Everyone's a little intoxicated with the royal wedding.
But we'll see what the next chapter brings.
Monarchist or Republican?
Well, I'll take 50-50 both ways, but if monarchy is such a good idea, why don't we pick a family in Australia and make them the king or queen?
Monarchy, how relevant to Australia, Michelle?
I think the monarchy is very relevant to Australia. I mean,
is it?
I was brought up in
Not relevant to me.
Well, okay. I know we're a very cosmopolitan, multicultural country, but I do think that Australia people have come to Australia for the peace and the prosperity, and part of that peace and prosperity has come from having a constitutional monarchy, I think. Well, I don't think everybody thinks, oh, we're a constitutional monarchy or we've got a monarchy as the head of the state. I think people who want to have a republic or have a president think that, but I don't think everybody does. I think we're our own country and we stand on our own 2 feet.
But we have somebody else's queen as our monarch. A little bit demeaning.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll agree to disagree there.
Oh, you don't think that's demeaning? You
no,
think that's all right?
I think that's all right, but we could go on and on. It could take forever to go through this.
Yeah, and we've only got 2 minutes.
We've only got 2 minutes. Look, I loved the royal wedding. I taped it. I'll watch it again and again. Yeah, I watched it twice, but I really enjoy the royal family, and I can't see if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Maz, you watched the royal wedding?
I did, and what was interesting, because I am a Republican, I actually enjoyed watching the wedding. It's not about whether or not you like the Queen or the prince and princesses. It's about the institution of the monarchy. I actually think it's time Australia grows up and really stands on its own 2 feet, a bit like Canada. It doesn't mean we are letting go of England. We will be part of the Commonwealth, and this is what I can't understand when people go on about the monarchy. We will still have a role in the Commonwealth. We will just be an independent republic like Canada.
Canada's not a republic. It changed its flag, but it's still in the...
Is it still
classified
Queen Elizabeth, as a monarchy?
Queen Elizabeth is still very much
will still be part of the Commonwealth, Gary.
But also, yeah, of course.
But I do understand that people want safe, secure, and the Westminster system seems to be working well.
But we're not going to throw that out.
No, I hope so. But I think the Republicans need to think about what kind of model they want. And people are not going to vote for that unless they realise that maybe there is something better than what we already have.
I think the talk about models, etc., is one of those issues that the Republicans were sucked into.
Yeah.
It's got to be a process. You have to decide and make the decision first whether you actually want to take that move. And then assuming you've made that decision, then you work out what sort of move to try and put it all on one plate
But
in
Gary,
one vote.
going back to this letter too, it's not just about the monarchy versus republic. I mean, I think there are some flawed assumptions here. Sorry, Belinda, for saying that.
Go on, they are?
The fact that how normal they are. I mean, most people do not live a prince or princess's or the Queen's life. They are so privileged. A lot of people in Australia, we do not have servants. And if I can finish, sorry. Who sets the standards? It's not royalty, it's your family.
Yeah.
They're the first group of people who set standards. Then
And fundamental
it's
common
reinforced
sense.
by schools, by supposedly our politicians. One has to question that sometimes. Sorry, Michael.
All those institutions.
No. So
Yeah.
I guess really you don't really look to the royalty
Anymore.
for establishing
We're starting
those.
to throw those things out. We don't have debutantes anymore and stuff like. We don't wear gloves anymore. Come on, Steve. Hang on, Michelle wanted to say one thing.
Right, a reply.
What you were saying about normal, I don't think Belinda was saying that. I think Belinda was saying being normal, they've had divorces and breakups and that sort of thing, which is a normal thing that everybody does, every family has.
Yes, this is true.
So I think that's more
Yes,
what
they
she was
all.
saying.
Yes,
that
they're
they
equal.
Did look more, yeah.
They're equal. So why should they be sitting up there?
I still question that premise.
Why shouldn't
that
you
they're
be sitting
equal.
up there?
Because I have an issue with
She's Greek.
birthright.
Birthright.
That's a problem.
Come on.
She can't be the Queen of England.
Well, Prince Philip should be my mate.
She can't be King of Australia because you're not a. What do you have to be?
Hey, you're running short. We've got to be real quick. I'm
Okay.
going to liken it to a
That's
parent
all right,
with a child.
go on.
What you do is, as you've got a child, you hold their hand while they're walking along the street to make sure you protect them from things.
And then?
And eventually you let go of that hand and you let them have their own way. You're still attached, you're still involved, and I think that really it's time for us to move on from that. And if we want role models, there are some wonderful examples of role models in Australia. You need look no further than our own governor in Western Australia, who's been a wonderful example of how to live lives. I think we can get some wonderful examples
people
within Australia. It doesn't have to be a monarch that does that, who is privileged. And I think the extent of the privilege goes a little bit too far, and we do, as Michael said earlier, relate to a fairy tale, and we all have that dream. I watched it because I had to.
You couldn't do anything but. It was on every single bloody channel.
And all I wanted to do was watch the football.
Except SBS. Except SBS. I'm
So
sure
he
they
went to
covered
his
it on the news.
computer.
Did you? You went to the computer. When we come back, it won't be the monarchy-republic debate. We're going to be talking about whether you can still be mates with your ex after you've moved on. I think you can.
I think you can, of course.
Goodness me. Don't go away. More of Sweet and Sour when we come back. There we go.
From man boobs to having babies with decrepit old men, we tackle all of the hard-hitting issues right here.
Welcome back to Sweet and Sour. Steve singing to me, not his missus. I adore all the girls I've ever been out with. Are you singing in the background?
No, Willie Nelson said that.
What,
To
I-
all the girls I've loved before, who've travelled in and out my door.
But my current girlfriend insists this is poor form. She says when anyone moves on, they must also move on emotionally and end all feelings and ties. Why would rational, confident people do that? I went out with these women because I had enormous regard for them, their opinions and attitudes, and they were all fun. In each previous relationship, we moved apart naturally for one reason or another, be it timing, job placement, travel, or just plain long-term incompatibility. Surely this is normal. This as an issue was ignited when I happily mentioned I was having coffee with one of my ex-girlfriends to catch up. Is humanity so insecure that every ex-partner is a threat and no one is allowed to catch up? I can't in any way see why maintaining contact and conversation with those you've built a strong bond is anything other than adult and mature in approach to moving on. With my current girlfriend, we've been together for almost 3 years, and my sister, who is similar in outlook to me, has suggested that I should be careful, as anyone who has these sorts of issues will also be jealous of my family members' relationships with me also. Mitch and panellists, could you please offer me some insights? Justin of Munster in WA. Steve, first up.
Well, Justin, I think the first thing that you have to ask yourself is how would you feel if the shoe was on the other foot? How would you feel if your partner kept in touch with her past boyfriends and you knew that she was seeing them. If you're totally comfortable with that and you've discussed it and you feel okay with it, that's fine between the two of you. However, if on the other hand you're not comfortable with that, I think that it's important that you do move on. There's nothing wrong with being friendly, with being able to chat with a former partner when you happen to meet one another in circumstances that are such.
But you're saying you don't organise coffee?
No, generally I think you need to move on.
Don't organise coffee. Maz, what do you say?
Yeah, no, I agree. Look, I know on the surface this appears as if this person's insecure and maybe is she a bit possessive. You know, I believe in, you know, if you love someone, you let them go and they'll come back. You've all heard of that, of that line, those ideas. But look, I'm a great believer in moving on as well. Look, if I see them again, you chat, you talk, you introduce.
If you saw them again?
I wouldn't actually go out of my way to organise a coffee because I've moved on.
You've bumped into one another?
Yeah.
He says, let's go for a quick coffee.
Well, depends. It depends if I have another appointment.
Okay, but you don't. You're free. What would you do?
If I'm free, I'd say yes. Okay, let's have a coffee.
There you go. All right.
I've got no problem with that.
Yeah, and then I'd obviously go home and
wasn't
tell...
pre-organised?
No, that's right.
Banged into?
No problems at all.
And if it bloomed into something else?
I'd make sure it wouldn't.
All right, Mish, what's the go here?
Well, Justin, I do have to agree with your current girlfriend that if you come home and say out of the blue I had coffee with an ex-girlfriend, I'd be a bit worried too. But since you've explained it all, that's the sort of person you are, you like to meet with your exes. I don't really have a big problem with that. If I was a jealous sort, I'd be worried about Michael all the time because he's always, you know, going out with different people. He'll come home and say, I've had lunch with X, Y, Z, and I don't really have a problem with it. And I don't have a problem with
Actually, you're lucky. He's too busy.
But no, I wouldn't. I'm not. I think life's too short. If he's going to go out and see his exes, he'll do it anyway, so he can come and tell me. I really don't care.
All right, now you've heard what the missus has got to say. She's got more time than you after school.
I'm very happy to hear that Michelle's so liberal. I better get the old phone book out again. But I think there's times and times. I mean, if you bump into somebody and decide, look, you're going to have a cup of coffee, that's all right. But I think it's a little bit off if you've got your, 6 or 10 names in a little black book
on
and
a
you crawl
roster
through them on a roster, saying, look, we need to meet. But I think there's also the danger here that you've got to be very careful that there's not a bit of jealousy creeping in over here, and I think that's unhealthy. But if it's going to be on a roster basis, no, that's not on. If you bump into somebody and you just want to have a casual coffee, that's fine.
All right, mate. Terrific. Good comments from our couples tonight. We've got to go, but before we do, which letter do we like to give away the pair of limited edition sunnies, courtesy of Alan Treves and Aussie Opticals?
Well, the one that we sort of seem to get most animated about was letter 2, Gary.
Letter 2, Mish?
I think letter 2,
Letter 2, the Republic Monarchy.
I think the Republic Monarchy, and I think you should have about 5 shows just on the Republic Monarchy.
Steve?
Letter 4, I hate anything that's unanimous.
Coming out to Belinda of Chadstone, Victoria, a pair of limited edition sunnies courtesy of Alon Treves and Aussie Opticals. We've got to go. Thank you, couples.
Thank you very
It's
much.
been terrific.
It's been lovely.
We'll see you
Thank
again.
you very much.
Thank all of our wonderful panellists, our terrific crew, and thanks for having us at home, Australia. Good night. Bye-bye.